Hi, welcome to ADHD Friendly. I'm Patty. I am an ADHD coach, and I'm here to help you thrive with your ADHD. If you would like more support than I can possibly offer you in a podcast / YouTube channel, check out my ADHDfriendly.com website for information about my ADHD Friendly membership, where ADDers get more things done with more ease, more frequently, more consistently. Okay. This week, I am celebrating what I'm calling inbox zero, and I'll tell you what that means. And then I'm going to update a few things I've spent money on. I'm going to share a tip that came from a client last week that I put a little structure around. I'm going to share it here around fierce prompts. And then my main topic for today is effortful before effortless.
Okay.
So do something that requires effort before you do the thing that you just doesn't require any effort, effortless. Plus, of course, I'll highlight my book of the week. I am starting to feel the pressure. I've got to finish. I've gotten so many books lately that I feel like I've done very ADHD approach to them because none of them have held my full attention.
Yeah.
So I keep starting. I think I just last night started my fourth one. Yeah, it's not good because two of them were more than 100 years ago and I realized the characters are blending. So I don't have enough of a handle.
Yeah.
I need them to be distinctly separate books. So when I was looking at next week and I'm like, oh, I haven't even read those books yet. And they're on my list because I thought, no problem, I'll whip those out. And now I'm like, I don't want to run out and not have a book of the week. Yeah, it is. It's definitely pulling me in to make sure I get it done. So I have a book to share that I want to share, not a book that I'm like, I read it, but I don't recommend it.
Not great.
Yeah, stay away. I mean, maybe that would be helpful if you don't want to, waste your time, but yeah. Okay, so my celebration for episode 207. I don't think I said it at the beginning. 207. My celebration is what I'm calling inbox zero. So I took a screenshot of my work email. So I typically keep this email box relatively red. I don't clean it out. So with me, inbox zero doesn't mean there's no emails in there.
Yeah.
It means there's no unread emails. I haven't had 0 unread emails in years.
What?
So I hit, and it even said, woohoo, you've read all the messages in your inbox, which I didn't realize it would do. So I was like, look at that. It's like, shit, which is fun, but you can see this is one of 50 of 14,566 emails that I did not delete. They're still in there, but everything has either been read or deleted that I don't need to do anything.
That feels good.
It feels really good. And in my work email, if it's unread, it's because I need to do something with it. So that is never more than, it's usually around, I'd say 9 to 15 emails, but it's consistently pretty much always in double digits. It's pretty much 10 to 13, 14, 15 all the time. And one of them was in there from more than a year ago that I was like, Patty, you haven't done anything with this email in more than a year. Do you really need to save the email itself, or can you let that one go and go to inbox zero? And that was what it took me to get to the inbox zero. So it's not technically zero, because there is 14,500 plus, but it's 0 unread. Now today I still have 2, but it's really sparkly to keep it at such a low number, and to know that the low number means there's nothing that I have to do anything with. I don't have to take action on anything that's still in there, because the 14,000 don't mean anything to me. I don't need to take action on them.
Anxiety.
So that's my celebration.
Love it.
And I've got a little tip tied to that I'm going to go into, I think next week. But just, how to think about what does inbox zero mean to you? Because it doesn't have to mean 0, like mine clearly doesn't. It might mean no unread emails, or it might be maybe inbox zero to you is I don't let it go over 100, or I don't let it go under 10, or, kind of defining what that baseline is for you, so that you're navigating within something that's sustainable and not having an expectation of yourself that isn't reachable.
Yeah.
Okay. So now for what I purchased this week. Becca knows of my pillow saga. So I've had ongoing things with my sleep not being the best. I'm talking really loudly. Do you hear me? I'm
No,
projecting.
No, it's good.
Okay.
It's good.
I'm like really passionate about my sleep, and it's not been the most restorative sleep lately. And finally, one morning, both my husband and I had a not a great night's sleep. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like sore. And he was like, these pillows suck. And I had never thought about replacing the pillows because we have a relatively new mattress. Like I have nice, comfy bedding.
Mhm.
I thought my pillow was okay, but it
fine.
is older. And so I was like, are they? Do they?
Is this the problem?
Yeah. And so it kind of sent me down this, well, okay, well, if I'm going to upgrade the pillows, I sleep on my side and so does my husband. So I'm like,
Yes.
I want good pillows specifically for side sleepers. So I did a deep dive into Consumer Reports.
Ooh,
I know, I'm that girl. I researched it. I pulled the top two. So the top one had a score of 92. The second rated one had a score of 90. They were not inexpensive. So I got the Plank, which has not arrived yet.
Right. That's
So
the one
I'm
you're
not,
looking at.
this is not gonna be my product of the week. I'm going to update in a future podcast which one. I'm hoping one of the three that I've purchased will be
The one.
the one. But the Plank was $54, which actually I had to pay $57.75, but
With,
it
like,
did have
tax
free
and
shipping.
stuff.
Yes.
Oh, that's good though. Okay.
Well, no, that was the price. I don't include tax because
Yeah.
that's depending
Right.
on where you live, whether or not you have tax, how much tax. I have a higher tax here.
Yeah, we do.
So that was the price without tax, but it did include shipping. And then the Coop, COOP, Sleep Goods original pillow was $85. I had to get that one on Amazon. So it was from $79 on Costco. I had to get it from Amazon to get the free shipping. It was that much on another site, but you had to pay for shipping.
Yeah.
So potatoes. Right. So I got it from Amazon for the free shipping. And then I got a just regular pillow from I think I got it. I can't remember if I got it from Costco or Samsung. That is like a memory foam cooling gel pillow.
Ooh, yeah.
So I'm trying these three, only two have arrived so far. So I'll update this more in the future, but it was Sam's Club. The Sam's Club was a Serta side sleeper pillow with cooling gel memory. That was $29.98.
Oh.
Also came with free shipping for me, because I'm a member of Sam's,
Sam's Club.
like a business member. So I get free shipping, so I can sample these things to bring them here and share them with you. So I'll update more on that in the future when I've had a chance to try all three and really see if there's one that's kind of oh my gosh, I love this.
That's the one.
And I was telling Becca the one that I got from Coop, the original pillow, came with like an extra bag of filler. So it's designed for you to make it the right amount of fill.
Yeah.
But it recommended for side sleepers to start with what came in it before you mess with it. So for me right now, it's a little too full. I think my husband's trying it right now. When it cycles back to me to try again, I think I might take a little bit out of it and see, because I do like it a lot, but I think it's just a little too firm. That's it. So I will update more on that later.
It's like Goldilocks trying
Exactly. It is. I've always compared myself to the Princess and the Pea, not in the princess standpoint, but I am very sensitive to anything uncomfortable in the bed. If there's a wrinkle on the sheet, if there's a little bit of sand or something, oh my gosh. No, like, no, can't tolerate it. So the pillow is going to be really thoroughly tested, and I will be back with reviews in a future episode, hopefully in the next week or two. And then the last thing I purchased last week, I got from Sam's. I'm going to highlight it as my product, my product of the week. This is a surprise for Becca because she doesn't know yet. Oh, Becca, I got our 25 and 25, our favorite things PJs.
Oh my gosh, here.
It's the Jolly Crew. It's from Sam. So you can see the picture here. Again, check out my YouTube channel if you're listening to this and you want to see the images. It's top and bottoms. I got Becca the cute little small size. I got me the large size because I'm not petite like Becca, but I also need the length. And if I get medium, they inevitably are too short on me. Yeah, they're going to shrink up. Totally. But I just find that they're perpetually short, that I end up using the top and giving the bottoms to my daughter. Like they just don't end up being, and I can't stand them
Feeling
not,
like they're floods.
I want them to be down to my slippers. So let me look at those, like the little like Jolly Crew. I thought that'd be perfect for, and I got them in advance because they're a great price. They were only $16.98 a pair. So great, like budget if you want to get matching
for
family
families,
PJs. And I wanted to share it early in the hopes that if you're a Sam's Club member and you want, now clearly we have not tried these on, so I can't testify to, I'm really basing them on their cuteness and their price. We have not worn them yet. I will not do so until we record. At least I won't do so. It might change. She has a tendency, so I can't trust her. Okay. So when we wear it, when we record our favorite things episode is when we'll be able to say how they feel.
Yes.
But I have done the Sam's PJs. I think last year I got them from Sam's as well, and they were great.
Yeah, they're so
Again, not quite
cozy.
long enough after I washed them,
Yeah.
but they were very comfy.
For
So
sure.
there's your pair,
myself.
Becca. Keep them safe. Remember,
Adorable.
I already gave them to you because
Yeah.
I'll forget.
We both will forget. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited about them.
Me too.
So that
Jolly
was the
Crew.
last thing that I purchased. And it was so funny because when I sat there looking at them, and I actually got them because I needed, you have to order $50 or more to get free shipping.
Mhm.
And I had the pillow and I was like, what else could I get? And I just didn't want to buy just anything.
Yeah,
And so I was like, and I needed it to be a business expense because
it's your business.
I
yeah.
wanted to, use my business card. And I was like, well, what else? I'm like, I can get our PJs. And it saved me the worry of having to remember to do it later and worrying about whether or not they run out of different sizes.
Yes.
And I wouldn't have access
'Cause we
to
always
such
do
a
an
cute pair.
episode
I just thought Jolly Crew was like so perfect that I was like,
Mhm.
I don't have to think about this.
We are
Done,
the Jolly Crew.
done. Yep. I'm like, that's it. Done.
Love it.
I know, it's fun. And then really quickly, I wanted to update. I'm a little, I might have Becca edit this out. So if it's not in it, you won't know the difference. If it is in it, it was because Becca thought it was helpful and we should keep it in. So I shared in the past couple of weeks how I bought these puzzles, the wooden puzzles from a company that I didn't like their advertising,
Mhm.
going out of business, when clearly they're
No.
not going out of business, but I did like the puzzles themselves and how they went together. So I spent, it didn't take, I think the thing estimated online that it would take 4 or 5 hours to put together. No. No, maybe it would, I don't want to judge, like maybe it'll take you longer.
But you're
I'm
an
not all that, I'm not
experienced
very, no, I'm not very
puzzler.
good spatially. So for me to put it together, but I got this Halloween one. It's not mounted on anything, so I don't want it to fall over and fall apart.
The colors of
Right?
it.
It's so stinking cute.
So
And in
vibrant.
this one, I'm going to show you one of the
It, like,
pieces.
it lights up.
Oh, I know. It's so cool. And I had such a good time putting it together. Now I'm taking it apart. But
Careful.
there's like all these tiny little shapes,
Oh, there's little
pumpkins, and there was a lot of little ghosts. There was a little witch's room. Here's a ghost.
Oh, how
There was
fun. So it's like Halloween themed puzzle
Yes.
pieces.
And there were like 20 of these little, like, I'm taking it all
That's
apart to find
fun.
them. All of these really cute little pieces. But here's the thing, that's a little ghost. Here's the thing that I was so excited after I finished it. Excuse me. And I went and I showed my daughter my finished puzzle. And her comment
Oh no.
was, that's AI generated image, right?
Is it?
I have no idea. She was like, yeah, look, mom. She's like, and so I have no idea, but she was like, look at like the edge pumpkins, how like they don't make sense. They're kind of blurry. And she's like, and that window up there doesn't really make sense. It's kind of like cut the corner. It's like, it doesn't lay properly.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, that's AI generated. So just, you should know. So I'm like, all right, I'm sharing that in case
So
that's important to you. And, it did make me feel a little down because she is very against it. And my son, who I sent the cat one to with the Starry Story Night, is also very against AI created art. So I don't know what he's going to do with it, but I did tell him I'm completely unattached because if it doesn't spark joy for him, I don't want him to feel obligated to keep it or put it together. You can donate it or whatever. I don't care. But it was a bummer. So I just wanted to share that as just a updated little side note in case you heard what I shared about them and you liked what I said about them, even with maybe the information about their practices of advertising as it going out of business. So just another little footnote, be aware they might be AI generated. Now, I don't know this for sure. This is just my kids telling me. So not disparaging, not, judging, just putting it out there maybe check into it and see what you think if you're thinking about ordering some online wooden puzzles. And, that's an important feature because there are people that, cut them by hand, which I thought ironically, that was what I was ordering
Of
from, was a
course.
small business.
Yeah.
I really don't think they're anymore now that I've got all this kind of new information. So I feel a little swindled, a little yucky about it, but I still do love the puzzle.
The puzzles are still cute.
Super cute. And
Yeah.
I'm going to just take it as a lesson learned, and I'm going to let go any of that, kind of like we have to do with wins. We can kind of throw dirt and dust on them and make them kind of feel grimy.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold on to that. So the way I do that is by not being attached, which is why I tell my son, like, if you don't want to keep it, don't, let it go and move along. Okay. So now on to my ADHD friendly tip of the week. And this is something called fierce prompts. And in the coaching world, we use fierce prompts as a way to help our clients pick something that will work for them. Absolutely. Like there's no way it won't work. And often it's something that you may not want to do because it might be a little uncomfortable. It might be really visible. You're like, what if somebody sees that there? And they're like, why is that there? Like I always shared my example of how I had a sticky note on my the center of my steering wheel that said, don't forget Lily, because I would literally be terrified. I would forget to pick her up. I would just get in my car and end up at home and have my husband go, where's the kid? Like, ah. Yeah. And she was my last one. So I already had like 3 other older kids. I was running around and I was starting my business. And so I was so afraid of forgetting her because it was, a different routine that I would be like, I put it, and if somebody got in my car with me, it'd be like, it's like, how do I explain not to forget my kid? But it was needed.
I
So
think it's adorable though. I think that's a really
one of my clients who's heard me talk about fierce prompts asked me for more examples of them.
Ooh.
So I wrote down some of my own examples, but then I did use ChatGPT and I said, these are examples of fierce prompts, because I never know like if that's just a term. That was a term my mentor coach used.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know if that's like a term that's out there that can be searched. So I gave them multiple examples and I said, can you give me more examples of fierce prompts? So here's some more information. So in a nutshell, to define fierce prompts, they work for us, especially with ADHD, because they interrupt your automatic habits. So like my post-it on the driver, on the steering wheel, it's like I get in the car and if I'm like, oh, I have to go pick up that thing at the pharmacy, which is near the house, which is going to take me back home, that reminds me, don't forget to get Lily first, right? Totally. So it interrupts that automatic step-by-step thing you would be doing because it reminds you of something that you need to do. They also create friction for the wrong choice. So they either interrupt a habit, they can create friction. So that is, if I don't want to watch TV, I put the remote controls somewhere that's not in the normal place and it's difficult to get to. So I always say I put them in the garage. I put them in the kitchen, like I put them in a different room. So when I'm looking for them, I have that reminder of oh, that's right, I don't want to watch TV, because I will just in the default routine, just sit down and turn it on. So it creates resistance that I have to go, or it's like, leave the cookies at the store. So yeah, I'm an adult. I can get in my car and go get them, but it takes so much effort to get in the car and drive to go get them that I'm going to resist doing it. It creates too much friction. And then the third way that they work is they make it more effort to ignore than to act. So here are some examples in some different categories. This is where ChatGPT helped to add, I guess it took what I put in there and put them into categories, which is one of the things I love. Even though I didn't ask it to, it made sense. So I turned this into a tool and I shared it with my client. I'm like, oh, this is a lovely list that has some additional prompts that I didn't even think about. So the first is physical placement prompts. So like the sticky note, right? You're putting something in the way. You put your keys in your refrigerator with your lunch, so you don't forget your lunch. So if there's, no reason, I don't know if like the new keep fobs can be refrigerated or not. I'm not sure, but like the old fashioned, if you just have like a regular set of keys, you're putting it with the thing. You want to make sure you don't forget. So there's no way, you can't leave the house without your keys.
Right, you're not going anywhere.
So yeah, it's there. You leave your wallet or your purse, whatever, like the bag that needs to go, on top of your gym shoes. So you're remembering like, oh, that's right, I'm going to the gym after work. I don't want to forget the shoes. So it's like, they're coming with me. You tape a sticky note on the bathroom mirror so you can't miss it to remind you to brush your teeth. I do that. I have a couple of clients that live in different, time zones. And so college students, sometimes I have to work around their schedules. And so if I have like an unusual schedule, I put it on my calendar or my mirror to remind me of that difference in the morning. So maybe I don't have time to do my walk before
Yeah.
work. And I'm like, okay, that's right. You're going to walk after work before lunch today, when you're finished with the morning. Or maybe you put your medication, if you have like them in those little medication sorters, tuck it in your coffee mug that gets empty, so that you have to take it out before you can make your coffee. Again, just as a prompt, right? It's a prompt to do this in the morning. It's like, if then go to, it's like you see, like, oh, I'm gonna get my coffee. Oh, that's right, I gotta take my medicine. So it's just that putting something physical in the way. I like to put something in front of the door so that I can't open the door without remembering it. So I'll do that if I need to start laundry. I'll put the laundry basket in front of the door so I pick it up as I'm going out of my room. So just thinking about like where you'd physically place things as a fierce prompt. Another one is sensory prompts. So these are like you program your smart speaker to say something out loud at a specific time. I hate that personally because it scares the crap out of me and I scream. But you can have it say time to start or time to get moving or, whatever, but it's prompting you at the time you need it to. I personally hate that. But again, it's an idea that was a chat GPT when I was like, no, but I'm going to share it in case it works for you. This one I love. I have a couple of clients that have done this with candles where they'll light a specific candle when they're going to get into a focused either study mode or working on a work project mode. And it's like the scent over time signals the brain that, oh, this is what that means. It's time to focus. Yep. But this added to that example and said, a scented lotion or an essential oil as a signal. So I'm like, oh, I've even had students use different flavored gums to chew on to help, chewing gum is like a fidget to focus. It can help you, but it's also like, oh, I remember I was studying vocabulary for cells when I was chewing mint gum. So wait, it like literally is another thing to connect information with is the flavor, the scent or something. Yep.
Cool.
And then there's also social or accountability prompts. So that might be kind of using that accountability buddy, like I'm going to text you when I'm up to let you know I'm up. And you giving them permission to text you and say, hey, are you up yet? If you haven't texted yet, like, yeah. So, if that works for you, that could be an example. Or asking a family member to put something away that you don't want to have access to. And be like, could you hide like the Halloween candy so that I don't know where it is because I can't resist it when I know that it's there. And so you're using accountability from somebody else to do something to support you. And they're not going to tell you where it is when you're like, all right, just tell me, I just want one piece. You're like, nope, you asked me not to. And then finally, environmental interruptions. So these could be things like putting your phone in a different room to charge so that you set up the environment to not distract you. Where if that if your phone's right next to you, I had this happen the other night when I was knitting and I was doing a really simple, just regular knit stitch all around making a blanket. So it's just lots and lots. And so it's like my mind is almost looking for interruptions. So the little alerts, it was like I kept putting down my knitting and going and looking, where if I just put the phone out of my space, I would have gotten a lot more done.
Totally.
And then this is one that I use a lot with clients. Change your desktop or your lock screen wallpaper setting on your device, whether it's your phone or your laptop, to what you're intending to do. It could be your goal for the day, your goal for the year, whatever it is, to remind you of your intention. So you can't get to anything else within it without seeing that new picture. And it's new enough to serve your brain to remember the prompt. It's going to help remind you of the plan. And then my last example was put a sticky note on your steering wheel, because that was something I've always had to do. Or like, if it doesn't stick to the steering wheel on the console screen, or like on your backup mirror screen, something that's going to remind you to do the thing you want to do. I'll also use prompts like my jewelry. So if there's something I'm walking around the house and I don't want to forget, I'll move my little fidget ring to my other hand. It drives me crazy over here because it's too big and it'll fall off.
So you can remember.
So I have to walk around like with my hand up.
Like, what am I remembering?
Okay. So I don't forget the thing. It's like if I'm like going into the garage to get something out of my car, but I also want to remember to like grab a roll of paper towels or something, I'll put my ring on that finger to remind me, and I don't let myself move it back until it's done. I've had clients use that example and take their watch and move it to a different hand or, whatever, just thinking about like what physical thing is going to be like, why? Oh, that's right. I have that there because I want to remember this. Okay. So that's it for fierce prompts.
Whoop, whoop.
All right. And now my last thing, which is the main topic, which is probably ironically going to be the shortest thing I'm going to share, is how to use effortful to earn effortless, meaning you want to earn the effortless by doing the effortful thing first. The ADHD lens part of this is to keep it super small. So this is not the, when you think about that example of how do you eat, and I hate this, how do you eat an elephant, because I love elephants, but like, how do you, and it's like, take the bite of the biggest thing first. That often doesn't work for a lot of us with ADHD. So the effortfulness example is going to be really small. So I'm just going to start with that, even though I'm going to highlight it again in a minute. So this is a strategy I want to give full credit to, the Happier podcast with Gretchen Rubin. I heard it there probably a year or more ago. And one of her guests shared this idea, and I thought that the structure was so ADHD friendly. I put a little like pin in it to share. And here it is in a nutshell. So before you do something that's effortless, like going on social media or watching your favorite television show or the news or something that, you can just kind of zone out to, do something that requires a little bit of effort first. And again, it doesn't have to be big. And in the podcast episode that this was shared on, they said the smaller is often the better. So here's some examples. Read 3 pages of your book before you turn on the TV. So again, it's super small. You're not asking yourself to read for an hour or even for 30 minutes or 10 minutes. It might be just read a page, right? Do something that feels like I could do that before you do the thing that doesn't require any effort. Okay. Another example is maybe you like to puzzle and you haven't found time to sit down and do your puzzle. Set a timer for 5 minutes or work on your puzzle for 5 minutes before you go on social media. What happens is we tend to go to the effortless thing and time just dissolves away. And before we know it, it's the end of the day and we're up too late or whatever. Doing the small effortful thing first allows us to move forward on those intentions. And the other example is maybe you just take your coffee and sit outside if you're trying to spend more time in nature. Spend 5 minutes with your coffee outside before you turn on the news. I don't turn on the news. I haven't done that in about 2 years now, at least. And life is better for it. But maybe before I read the headlines, if I'm trying to figure out like what's going on in the world today, is there anything I need to be aware of? Just spend 5 minutes with my coffee and nature first. So what's great about this is that you're saying no to the effortless activity, but you do still get to, you're not saying no, you get to do it, but you do it after the thing that takes a little bit of effort. And then you build those small little chunks of effort that over time you're able to do with more ease because you have that connection to what you get. And I always say when I'm working with clients on different strategies to help them do the thing that's more important to them, but they're really struggling to get started, to notice how it feels when you're relaxing. Because often we actually do feel a greater sense of enjoyment and calm because we don't have that narrative running in the back of our brain of, you didn't even do blank. You could have at least started. And so that's kind of eating away at our enjoyment of it. So doing that small thing over time creates more balance and you become a person who reads a bit more or does a little bit of puzzling or spends time in nature every day, as opposed to someone that intends to do those things, but is going to the effortless thing all the time. So for ADHD brains, this is a real game changer. It's like finding that nugget of gold in the sea of, just glass that you're trying to get through. So the effortful tasks can feel like they're like a lot of work, but that's where the really super small comes in. So the effortless ones are tempting because they require no effort. So if you think of, I really do want to read more. One of my kiddos has had like a stack of books sitting. He's like, I'm going to read when you read. And he keeps getting different books from the library and putting them on the table. And I'm like, all you have to do is just open it up and read a paragraph, like read a sentence. Like something is more than nothing. It just feels so large when we're so used to the instant little mind candy of social media, gaming, watching, YouTube, watching Netflix. It just keeps prompting you with the next episode in 2 seconds. I swear, remember it used to be like 30 seconds. Now it's down to like 3, 2, 1, next episode.
We have like, want to watch.
I know, it's like we don't have time to think, and then it started. It's like, well, it's too late now. I don't know why it's suddenly too late. I can turn it off, but it feels like it's too late. It's got to be a psychological thing that there's. Oh my gosh. The strategy gives us a bridge to the effortless and enjoying it by doing some small effortful thing. And then again, it's just notice if it's less guilt that you feel doing the effortless thing, if you're enjoying it more. That's where I always want to highlight, because if we're noticing what we get from doing the small effort, it builds that more consistently. So again, it's not about discipline. It's about stacking your habits in a way that feels possible. If you're like, I'm going to read an hour every day and you are not currently reading,
You're reading it all.
That's a tall order. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's going to take enormous effort, and that's really hard to sustain. So maybe you make it a goal to read 1 page a day and notice over time, because over the course of a year, if last year you didn't read any books and this year you read a page a day, you will finish a book in the year.
Yeah.
So it's a game changer to go from 0 to 1. You've doubled your reading. Right?
You really have.
Literally.
Yeah.
That one small effortful action is what we're going for. And then you get the reward. So if you would like to try this, think about one effortless thing that you know that you're going to do, right? The thing that you're like, I am going to watch the next episode of my favorite show tonight. And then think of one tiny effort thing you can put before it. So maybe you're like, you know what? I want to do like a tree yoga pose for a minute before the episodes. I can stand in the room where the TV is.
Yeah.
I can have the remote and everything ready, my drink, my popcorn, whatever. But I'm just going to stand for a minute in yoga pose, maybe 30 seconds on each foot before I turn on the TV. And then just notice, like, okay, I did it. And now I'm sitting down. Instead of sitting down and think, I should probably do an commercial. I should probably do it after this episode. I should probably do it. You've done it. Do the effort, full small step before the effortless. And just notice how those small steps can make a big difference. All right. I have gone on and on. Here is the book of this week. It is The Lost Trees of Willow Ave.
Oh, it's a pretty cover.
Yeah, you know, I've just really been drawn to books about trees in the last few years.
Bathing.
Exactly. This is by Mike Tidwell. So here's my review. So this came out this year in March, and it was written by the author who in 2023, so it's a very recent, like in 2023, he decided to keep a record for the entire year of 2023 of the impact that climate change was having on his block, and specifically the trees on his block. And he lives on the border of Washington, D.C. And the trees are really struggling because of the impact of that, but so are the people are really feeling the impact of this loss. So, I mean, and they were big, like, look at the trunk of this tree. They were big, beautiful, wonderful trees that were there long before any of the residents lived there. And they, I think, expected them to be there long after they were gone, but they weren't. And he talked about how quickly they were dying. So I gave this a 3.5 out of 5, but more because it was hard to read. Like I really had a hard time with it was so sad. There was pictures in it of the stumps, and they were just these huge, huge trees, and how they talked about, you know, being proposed to underneath of it, or, you know, having picnicking under them. And it was just so sad how they just weren't, and they went really quickly with the drought conditions and the harsh heat. And they, you know, had lived over, you know, a couple hundred years, and suddenly they weren't able to sustain the changes. So it was well written. I liked how recent it was. It was just kind of hard to read about. And it kind of, it brought up a lot of I can't change a lot of that on my own. But it was definitely informative and made me love the trees because I've had to get rid of several trees since we've lived here that have died due to different stress conditions that, you know, it's just really unfortunate. But I do have new trees I planted that I go out and talk to, and makes me happy to see them thriving so far. I'm slowly getting a little green in my thumb, just a little bit. All right. And now finally, our quote of the week. This is from my favorite guy, Snoopy. Snoopy says, if you don't play every day, you lose that fine edge. So make time to play today, keep your edge, stay ADHD friendly, so you do things that help you thrive more and struggle less. That's it for this episode. We'll see you next time. Tally ho.